Shalom. Shalom. Hello, everyone. So glad you're here. Shalom le'andrade. Gam boker tov lecha, achi. Shalom yakar. Shalom tet. Shalom Thea. Shalom Brenda. Shalom Mentat Assassin. Betty. Gary. Vicky. Inc. 961. Gam shalom lecha. Shalom Brenda. Troy. Felix Daviet. Shalom. Felix must be right. Julie. Pereira. Huzik River Ben. Shalom Alecha. Shalom Betty. And Dr. DeVera. Shalom. So glad you guys all made it to our Psalms immersion. And I've had a lot of feedback. Oh, hold on, let me. Okay, I've had a lot of feedback from many of you that you're really benefiting from the immersion classes. So I'm glad to hear that. People are experiencing growth. And if you're new, it does work. It really works, the immersion. Some of my advanced students are here. Maybe you guys remember there were times when some people in the class would be like, are we going to have a normal grammar lesson or another immersion? You know who you were. I'm not sure if it's any of the ones who are here, but some were that way. I'm like, no, it's better. Trust me. Anybody can get a grammar book and just read through the grammar book with you. You can do it yourself. You don't need me or any other teacher for that. Just get the book and look at it and read it. But the growth, the real power, as Darth Vader says. The real power is being in the text and living and breathing the Hebrew. I hope you guys all checked out my the latest Weaponize Your Hebrew installment I let out today in, I think, 40 languages, the subtitles. Please check that out if you haven't checked it out. It's just 1 minute. It's a short. And I've got a nice verse for you there from Psalm 35. That is a good one to internalize. That's a new series we're doing, Weaponize Your Hebrew, if you guys haven't seen it. And the idea is to memorize a verse in Hebrew and apply it to your life. It can be used in spiritual warfare. It can be used in just scary moments in life. It can be used when you're praying for Israel or praying for our troops. Or it can be used when you're just wanting to increase your own faith, just to internalize that piece of the word. Everybody can memorize one verse, right? And if you'll do this every once in a while, once or twice a week, I've started adding these now, just a little bit here and there, maybe once a week, twice a week at the most, just memorizing one verse. Then you're going to start internalizing these silver bullets that you can use in different situations, and they will be there for you when you need it. You're walking down a scary place at night. You feel like somebody's watching you. Suddenly, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are imadi with me, etc., etc. Just the thing should be, and that, by the way, that's one of the ones we have. We have that verse in the Weaponize Your Hebrew. There's a playlist here. If you just want to look at the weaponizes, I think there's only 3 or 4 so far. But I like this idea of weaponizing the language. This is the oldest language, and it's the most spiritual language on earth. And the scriptures are not the same in any other language, which is why I'm sure you guys are all here. Thank you for that. Thank you. El Andrade says your teaching is unique and the best, More. I'm humbled by that. I'm very appreciative. I really want you guys to succeed. I get so excited when someone comes in and shares with me, or they share on the chat, or they share in YouTube comments that they're really feeling growth and they're having some breakthroughs in Hebrew. Every once in a while, someone will tell me, hey, the other day, in the word of the day, I understood the whole verse, right? Or something like that. We have these moments. And please do share those with me. That stuff is great to hear. It really gives me the emotional juice to push forward and want to do things better and better for you guys. So thank you. Please pray for this ministry. Yeah, we've been having some nonsense over in the chat. Some teenage Islamofascists have been trying to dump pornography and other stuff like that over in the chat. And, just so the admins are on top of it. I think we've got a pretty good solution now. So pray for them. Let's pray for these young men. I'm sure they're teenagers or something like that. I had some conversations with a few of them in person. just telling them, look, I encourage you to learn your scriptures in Arabic. Learn Arabic so you can see what it really says. Because I'm confident once they understand what it really says, that will drive them to the God of Israel, to the true God, the Konei Hashemayim v'ha'aretz. And also just wishing them that they would learn to seek life instead of death, to leave that whole religious, political system of death and to come to the God of Israel, who is life, whose name for a reason is never mentioned. His title, the God of Israel, the God of Jacob, El Elyon, any of those things, even Adonai, El Shaddai, El Nasi, none of his titles come across into the religious writings of the religion of peace. So there's a reason for that. So we need to pray for them. That is the only way we will ever have peace in the Middle East, is if we win these guys to the religion of life. And then they too can say l'chaim at their events of celebration and all this stuff, and they don't feel like they need to tear down and to deprive and to show pornography to followers of the God of Israel in the chat, or to show dead bodies or this other nasty stuff. That they would just, that the demons that animate them would be removed and they could see the truth. I saw a real neat thing on what's his name? He's one of the big Hebrew Christian Israelis. He's got a news channel. Is it Naftali? Something. I saw he had a nice interview with a Gazan who has become a Jew. He's joined Judaism. And they're talking in Hebrew. It was really nice to hear, really beautiful. This guy who he grew up in Gaza, right? And just to hear his perspectives on things, I highly recommend that if you guys haven't seen that. Maybe I'll share it in the chat, if not. Yes, pray for the IDF. Indeed, indeed. Ken Yiratzon, Amen, Inc. 961. Yes, yes. So let's, great, Brenda shared. Thank you, Admin Brenda. She shared the link to the Weaponize Your Hebrew shorts, if you guys want to do that stuff. Julie says, yes, I do need you laughing out loud. It's easier to understand the grammar after you have explained it. Servant of Hashem, Baruch haba, Baruch haba, the Tim, Tom, good to see you from down under. And Felisa, all of you guys, I'm so glad you're here. Shalom, Jeff, no worries. I've just been blah-blahing. You didn't miss anything. So let's do this. I was thinking what to do for the opening prayer tonight. It's kind of tricky when the night is Psalms. I don't always want to just do a psalm, because then what? We're rushing through a psalm and I'm just kind of explaining it. And then we're going to go in depth, like this one's more important than the other one. So I don't always feel right about that. So I just reached over and I grabbed this kind of compressed siddur that I have. This is it's like a little guy. And it's got most of the prayers. It's kind of an interesting edit, right? And I thought, Lord, what page? And 18 came to mind. I thought, surely not 18. That's the psalm we're doing. Is this just my own mind? And so I thought, let's look. I turned 18. I thought, oh, it's so appropriate. So we're going to pray what's on page 18, all right? And this will be our opening prayer. Hopefully you can see it all right. Wait, is that it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is from the Siddur. Right. From Shachrit Lechol. For those of you on the West Coast, it is Shachrit now, right? So even appropriate for you guys. Dr. Dever says, was Aramaic the dominant language spoken in Yeshua's time? So it depends on region, Doc. In the Galil, or the Kinneret, in the Galilee, yes, they had their own specific dialect. It's known as Galilean Aramaic. And there's an interesting teacher online who teaches Galilean Aramaic. I wish I could think of his website, but maybe someone can consult the Prophet Google and ask me about it later. And he has some interesting insights. And this scholar, who is very knowledgeable in several dialects of Aramaic, he confirms that the apostolic writings that we have today are not, that the Peshitta, for example, Syriac Aramaic, does not have primacy. And I know that's a disappointment to a lot of people. They just want to keep it in the family. They want it to be a Semitic language. But the Peshitta, as many scholars have seen, the Syriac, which is a late dialect of Aramaic, is clearly translated from the Greek text that we have, the Jewish Greek. And there's some great evidences of that, despite a few of the clever explanations. Now, that doesn't mean there wasn't Aramaic under the hood. The thought might have been in Aramaic, and then it gets put down in Greek. Now, in Jerusalem, Hebrew is thought to have been the dominant language, as well as some other areas in the Negev and such. And we have evidence that the Zealots, when they were fighting the Romans, trying to overthrow the wicked Romans, the wicked Roman Empire, I should say. They weren't all wicked, right? There's a few good guys, I'm sure. But, like Cornelius and such. But then when they were fighting to overthrow it, they would give out commands in Hebrew, and they communicate in Hebrew. We have some of these famous examples. Like, for example, when a catapult from the Romans would launch a giant, like a boulder in, the fighters would shout out, Ben Ba! Right? Which what? It sounds like a sun is coming. But it was a clip form, so you could say it faster to protect people. It was Evan Ba. A stone is coming. Right? So there's lots of things like this where if it was Aramaic, it would have been Atha instead of Ba. Right? So we have a lot of evidence, plus the fact that the Mishnah is written in Mishnaic Hebrew. Right? So, and this is even a little bit later than the time when Yeshua was walking the earth. So the fact that we have Mishnaic Hebrew was the choice instead of it transforming into full-blown Aramaic or something. So really Israel was I believe it was a trilingual country in those days. So you had Jewish Greek, those who spoke Jewish Greek, like I've demonstrated in this. If you want to watch, you can watch my video here on Did Yeshua Speak Greek? And the wordplay that he does with Nicodemus, that would only work in Greek. It doesn't work in Hebrew, and it doesn't work in Aramaic, in any of the dialects of Aramaic, but it does work the whole anothen from above or again. And there were those who spoke Aramaic, either Galilean or one of the other flavors of Jewish Aramaic. And then there were those who spoke Hebrew. And you see a kind of similar phenomenon. When I lived in the Ukraine, I remember I lived in Kyiv, and at first I was trying to learn Ukrainian, and I'd go around, because the signs are all in Ukrainian. The advertisements, the billboards are all Ukrainian. The radio's Ukrainian. If you go to a movie, it's Ukrainian audio. They have a law that it has to be translated from Russian into Ukrainian, this kind of stuff. But then you might check a music video, it's in Russian, right? So what's going on? But the people in Kyiv, they would speak Russian. So they'd be smiling when I try to say something in Ukrainian, and then they just kind of, usually they'd answer, sometimes they say budlaska or some little thing, but usually they'd answer in Russian, right? But if you went to Western Ukraine, they were a lot more patriotic over there. And they spoke Ukrainian, like real Ukrainian. Right? And so I think it's a similar thing in Israel, Doc. I think in those days, the patriotic Jews were trying to speak Hebrew intentionally. Right? Just like Ben Yehuda in the modern Hebrew, trying to revive the language, trying to keep it alive. So they were intentionally trying to communicate in Hebrew, especially in Jerusalem, where there's a lot of nationalism, right? Living in the capital and all that kind of stuff. Okay? Hope that answers the question. So probably trilingual. And if you count dialects, maybe more than that, depending on the flavor of Aramaic. Okay? Shalom, Michael. Shalom, Elizabeth. Glad you guys are here. You have to excuse me. I had a bit of a fever today, so I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to be drinking my hot tea, and let's go. All right, so here's the prayer. Let's start. Oops, sorry. Here. This is such a small book, I got to keep it open with one hand. Adonai svatai tiftach ufi yagid yipelo. Oh Adonai, may my lips you open up, and my mouth, that my mouth may recount or tell of tehilatekha, the tehillah of you, of your praises. Tell your praises, recount your praises. I'm trying to make this work. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, and the God of our forefathers, our ancestors. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov. This opening prayer, okay, guys? The God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, and the God of Yaakov. Ha'el Hagigadol v'Hagibor. Pardon me. Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon. The great God, the mighty and awesome El Elyon, God Most High. Gomel Chasadim Tovim. The one who repays the pious with good things. Konei hakol, the former of everything. V'socher chazdei avot, and the one who remembers the pious ones among the fathers. Umevi goel livnei v'neihem lima'an shemo behava, and the one who brings a redeemer to the children of their children, so that his name might be with love. Behava. Okay, we'll do this part. Melech Ozeh u'Mashiach. Umagen. Sometimes people confuse this for Mashiach. I've even heard. Okay, I won't say it. It's fine. Melech Ozer, king, helper, umoshia, and savior, umagen, and shield. Baruch ata Adonai magen Avraham. Blessed are you, O Adonai, the shield of Abraham. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai mechaye metim ata rav lehoshia. You are great, or you're on high forever, O my lords. Mechaye, the one who brings to life, metim, the dead, ata are you. Rav lehoshia, abundant to save or to rescue or to give victory. Morid hatal, the one who brings down the dew. Mashiv haruach umorid hageshem, the one who returns the spirit and who, or it could also be the wind, and who brings down the rain. Probably wind in this context. Mechalkel chayim b'chesed mechaye metim b'rachamim rabim somech novelim v'rofei cholim u'metir asurim mekayem emunatu l'shenei afar. The one who sets right or firm or establishes the chayim, the living, b'chesed, with loving kindness. Mechaye, and who resuscitates, who revives, metim, the dead. B'rachamim, with mercy, rabim, with abundant mercies. Somech nofelim, the one who supports the fallen. V'rofei cholim, and the one who heals the sick. Umatir asurim, and who releases the bound, like in captivity, or in prison or whatever. Umekayem emunato, and the one who makes stand his faithfulness. Lishenei afar, for those who sleep in the dust. Mi chamocha ba'al gevorot, umidomelach melech memit umechayei umatzmiach Yeshua. Who is like you, O Master of the mighty, and who resembles, like as in form and such, to you, O King, the one who from the dead and over the dead and of the living, and the one who causes to flourish, Yeshua, salvation. And this is when you can actually say, if someone's leading it, you can say Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo, Mechaye Hametim, V'ne'eman, surely or indeed or truly, Ata, you are lehachayot metim, the one who causes to live the dead. Baruch ata Adonai, blessed are you, O Lord, or Adonai, Mechaye, the one who brings to life, Hametim, the dead. All right. That's our opening prayer. A little splash from the Siddur. Yeah, nice, right? So maybe it really was the Ruach that put the number 18 in my head. Because I thought, is it just coincidence we're doing Psalm 18? Maybe my mind is connecting stuff, but no. It's powerful. I even felt to start kind of in the middle of the page at the new section, and sure enough, there was a middle section. So I really believe that was Ruach HaKodesh. That's out there, and we pray that for all of our fallen brothers and sisters. May there be no more fallen. Okay. Let's get into our psalm tonight. Glad you guys like that. Let me just select my right view here. Oh, yes, this one. Okay. Hey, still here. There we go. A bit bigger. Okay. So tonight, we are in Hebrew Immersion, Psalm 18, verses 36 to 40. By the way, I think it's kind of cool we're hitting some of these more difficult or more lengthy psalms. Like we already knocked out 119, okay, the biggest chapter in the Bible. And we're going to have knocked out some of these more difficult ones. I'm thinking maybe when we finish 18, we might start hitting some more like journal-sized psalms and such. Yeah, not sure what happened there, but okay. Hold on, let me just make an adjustment. I don't like how something's displaying here. Let's see what is going on. There we go. 36, all right. Oh, maybe that's fine like that. Okay. Boom. All right, let's do it. Verse 36, that's Lamed Vav. Vatiten li magen veymiynekha. So vatiten, this is one that we saw last night in our immersion. So if you'll recall, this word here, T10, I'll draw it down here. What's really happening is, in ancient Hebrew, it was tinten. See? It was, or tinten. Tinten is what it was. Like this. Tinten. You guys all see that okay? So it's tinten. So you can recognize the root then, natan. Natan is to give, right? To give. We know this. This is one of our words of the day. Shalom, chona. Dana, dana, chona. Dana, dana, chona. I'm sorry, it's actually rona. It's like an Israeli song from the 80s. Dana, dana, rona. Dana, dana, rona. Dana, 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 dana. The only words I know are rona. But he's singing about a girl, of course. All right, let's see. You check it out. It's probably on YouTube. Just search Israeli song Rona. I bet you'll see it. It's going to be like kind of kludgy. You know, this is when Israel's still trying to make it. Not quite first worldy. There's a lot of Arabic influence from Jews from Arabia and stuff. So, okay. Also the Persian Jews, with like all the gold and stuff. It's worth a watch at least. Okay. Oh, and was I blocking that? I'm like, oh, look I'm looking over here at my screen, and nobody told me I'm blocking what I'm drawing. Okay, let's. There we go. That's better. Okay. And then, of course, what happens is the noon is going to assimilate, right? He's going to go away. So this guy is going to go inside of this one. And that's what this strong dagesh is telling you here. He's saying, hey, Mr. Noon is hiding in me. So instead of T10, it's T10. Okay? And that first tav, I won't do this with every word tonight, but just reviewing the memory for those of you who are a little bit greener. The first tav, actually, I want it blue. 9. This guy reminds us of ata. Meaning you. It's the tav part in the middle, right? So you see that at the beginning of the verb. That reminds you of the tav and ata. Although it's not always. Sometimes it's unfortunately feminine third person. But anyway, here it is you. Okay, it's you. Okay, and there it is up there, you. So this guy is up there. Okay, you guys all see it. So, like the tav in Tet's username there, she put a tav there, right? So, although I was wondering, did you mean a tet? I was wondering, did you mean a tet? Okay. Va, T10. So T10 is you will natan. You will give or you are giving. And then our magical Vav, he doesn't always do this, but very often it's going to change the aspect, right? So our Vav, and oftentimes you'll see it in this pattern. You'll see Vav with a patach and then a dagesh in the next letter, okay? There'll be a dagesh. That is the Vav conversive. That's an old term in grammar, not used so much anymore, but I like it because it's really makes the students think about what's happening, okay? So Vav, a patach, and then a dagesh, boom, in there. And if you can't take a dagesh, he's going to come down and lengthen it to qamats, like we've been seeing, all right? And so there it is, up there. This guy here, bloop, bloop, wait, hold on, bloop, bloop, there it is. Cheapo graphics. We're trying. That's the Vav. So he's changing the aspect. If you must, you can think of it as changing the time, but that's not really what's happening. And the reason I'm such a stickler for saying it's not really time is because people who study modern Hebrew first, and then they come to biblical Hebrew, they have a huge misconception about time. Time in the Bible is not the same as time in modern Hebrew. Modern Hebrew has been corrupted by Indo-European languages, the way that Spaniards think, the way that Germans think, in their languages, right? The way that Russians think in their language. And so that's how time works in modern Hebrew. Does not work that way in the Tanakh. So that's why I'm always trying to say it's not really time, it's aspect. It's aspect. But we'll see. Let's see. If you need to think of it as time for now, that's fine. Okay, think of it as flipping the time. Inc. 961 says, is Mr. Noon not scouting the land rather than hiding? Maybe both, right? He's hiding at the prostitute's house while everybody... Tet says, it's a Filipino joke, sis Brenda. When someone sings, might bring down rains. Okay, cute. All right, so. Vatiten. That you might give li. So the lamed is 2 or 4. And then the yod at the end, right? The suffix, that's me. You might give to me, right? You guys remember this. I'll be a little bit more generous with the notes, and then I'll start, as we get into it, I'll start cutting it out, okay? So we have the suffix, you have your word, have some word, and at the end, we have a yod, okay? Usually accompanied by a dot here, chirik, so it says, E. I like to say it like that, it's kind of a memory jog for the audio learners, E, okay, or sometimes ni. Either way, it's ending in E. That's me, okay? And that's what we have up over here at the end of the lamed. So if you learn that you're lamed, if you haven't learned tonight, let this be your word tonight. Lamed means 2 or 4, sometimes from, but usually 2 or 4, okay? Sometimes it's evocative. There's some other, anyway, for now that's good. 2 or 4, F-O-R, 4, not the number 4. So, vatiten, oh, that you would give, l, to, e, to me, magain, a magain. What is a magain? We talked about this a little bit the other night, what a magain is. Magain. Magain is a shield, right? Something you wear on your arm, right? Oh, that looks kind of like a bicycle wheel with spokes, but whatever. If you want art, have Daniel draw it. Or Trisha. Okay. But there's a tradition that King David's shield, I shouldn't have done it red in red. The anti-Semites are going to be like, see, I knew the Jews were into pagan, weird devil symbols. Okay. Notice it's not a pentagram, okay? It's a 6-pointed star. Different. And it's true that various occultic groups, they've tried to steal our symbols and such. But this was what was believed to be on King David's shield, right? And I think I shared with you guys, in Ashkenaz Hebrew, the A is read as an O. The qamats is read as an O, right? So instead of magen, it would be mogen. Well, mogen, and you get lazy, mogen. And so coming into Yiddish, that's why mogen is a star. And instead of Mogen David, it's Mogen Dovid. So Star of David, it's like a shield of David, is how you say it in Yiddish. Because of this tradition that King David had it on his shield. His short shield, right? This isn't a tzina, not the full body shield, but just the one that's on your arm. You got your short sword, right? You pull out your sword, and then you got the... Okay, one less Hamas. Right, Captain American's shield. Great, Pay. Nice. That's great. All right, so let's continue on. Yish'echa. What in the world is this word? It probably feels like it should be familiar to you. Okay, so let's cut off the cha. The cha you should know by now, right? The cha at the end, that's yours. Yours, talking to a man, right? Or to you, or of you, etc. But we'll say yours. So what is yish'eh? So this word is actually yesha. When you look it up in the dictionary, yesha. Yesha. Okay. Yesha is a synonym for Yeshua. So that means salvation or victory. Okay. Yesha. And then the pointing changes just kind of depending on how things are going. Okay. So Yish'echa, it's the Yesha of Cha. Right? The Yesha of Cha. And just to be consistent, and to give myself more work, Then we've got cha. So just like we had e was mine, if we have, no, don't do that. Okay, fine. If we have cha, cha, oi, it's hard writing kind of up at an angle. Cha equals yours. Talking to a man, yours, cha. Okay. So here and here we have those examples. Okay. You got another one over here. Maybe we'll mark up all the suffixes, all the pronominal suffixes, and the ni helps them out. I'll just include the noon. Ni. Cha. Okay. Kosulai. Great, for this verse. Okay, they're all marked up. Beautiful. Right, Jonah, like the red star David in Israel. By the way, do you know why there's a red star David? Magen Adom? The shield of red, right? You know why in Israel? It's not the same. Did you know that it's not the same organization as the Red Cross? Red Cross, all over Christian countries and stuff, they're the Red Cross. They go to Islamic lands, they're the Red Crescent. Same organization, Red Crescent. There is no, that organization is not in Israel. You know why? Because the United Nations voted that this Shield of David is a racist symbol. Woo-hoo. We're so racist, Jews, just trying to make everybody into Jews, trying to kill all the non-Jews, right? And so because of that, the politically correct Red Cross did not want to be in Israel. Didn't want to help dead Jews or hurt Jews. Just help the Muslims, right? Because, there's no Muslims in the world. 1.8 billion. They need the help. They need the help. Fledgling Israel used to be 2 million. We don't need any help. Go ahead. Sorry about the racism. So instead of accept their Red Cross or something like that, we made our own. Okay? So that is not associated with the other organization. Okay, so anyway. Dr. Dever says, how different is Magen from shield, tzina, and buckler? So a tzina is full body. Well, like this. Full body. You hold it in front of you, and it goes down to your feet, right? So if you got a nice helmet, arrows are coming in, it might be nice to have a full body shield. Maybe you're standing in the back, right? Maybe you're an archer. You pull up the tzina, right, after you fired your volley, like this. Or you could be on top of a tower, you got your tzina, right, like that. Okay. Magen yish'echa, the shield of your victory. You could also translate that your victory shield. Veymiynekha, and the yamin. You guys remember this word? Yamin. Ani yamin. Just kidding. That's different word. Ani yamin. No, it's ani me'amin. That's probably going to mess some of you up. I better not joke like that. Okay. So this word here is yamin. Yamin. Okay. All right. And then what happens is, I'm just going to explain this for the advanced students, okay? I'm not going to do this with everyone. This is probably the only word I'm going to go through this level of detail on tonight. But I just want some of you, we have enough of my advanced students here that I want to make sure they're getting something from it too, yeah? So if this stresses you out or seems so complicated, let it wash over. Don't worry. Go up and have a drink. Perhaps alcoholic. Relax, okay? But for those of you who want to know this level of detail, what's happening with the vowels and this crazy changes. So here's what happened. I'm going to change to yellow now to put on the suffix, okay? So look. We've got this yamin accent here. This is a pretonic qamats. You guys remember this rule, right? Or remember the term, okay? We're going to put cha at the end now. So we add the cha to the end. I'm not going to bother to change the noon suffix, okay? Adding cha. What does Hebrew like to do? Accent likes to move to the end, right? Cha. And what happens with the pretonic qamats when you move the accent? That is a qamats, that's the capital T thing, that's right before the accent. When the accent moves, he reduces to a schwa. So this guy, bump, 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 is going to become a schwa, or sheva, if you like modern Hebrew way to call it. Okay? So instead of yamiynekha, it's veymiynekha. Okay? Veymiynekha. Okay, so now I'm going to write it out. I'll write it out. Now we've got, yeah. Okay. Veymiynekha. Okay, accent over here in the end. Now we're going to add a vav to the word. Da da da. Now, so far you guys learned bump, schwa, and all that kind of stuff, and that's great. But there's something special that happens when the word starts with a yod that has a schwa under it, and we put any kind of prefix on there other than min, meaning from, okay? So if you put kaf, lamed, beit, or vav in front of a word, and that word starts with yod with a schwa under it. This is the only time this applies, okay? Well, mostly, okay. So here's our vav. Let's attach the vav there. So the problem is we try to put the vav with a schwa under it. Not allowed, because you're now starting the word with two schwas in a row. The vav has a schwa. I should have written it closer. And the yod has a schwa. Okay? You can't do that. So now we do compensatory lengthening. With this special situation, the schwa lengthens to the shortest of vowels, the chirik. That's a single dot. So I'm going to erase. Bloop, 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 bloop. Okay? So now there's just a single dot down there, a chirik. Okay? But now yod is a weirdo. It's just like in English. When you learn what the vowels were in English, what do we learn? A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. But if you live in Massachusetts, and sometimes W. They got weird words up there from Gaelic and stuff, names of places of sometimes W. Okay, but forget that. Just come back to sometimes Y. Okay? So that means sometimes Y is a consonant, like Y, and sometimes it's a vowel. All right? Well, here it's going to become a vowel. He's going to lose his consonantal properties. And so what's going to happen, we're going to erase this here. We're going to erase that schwa. And now we have a full chirik under the vav. The yod is now part of the vowel. Okay, so let me just redraw it now as one complete unit. Vav, if you can see it. I'm running out of space. And chirik. Okay? And that's what's happening over here. So go from here. Da, 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 da. There we go. Okay. So veymiynekha. You see, that's how you get that weird spelling. And this will happen with any word that starts with a yod and a schwa. So Yerushalayim, Jerusalem. If I want to say and Jerusalem, V'Yerushalayim. So many people in the shul and synagogues, I always hear the kind of mistake. Like if they want to say and Jerusalem, they say V'Yerushalayim. Okay, rookie mistake. It's V'Yerushalayim. En Jehuda, pardon me, En Jehuda. I like combined English and Hebrew. En Yehuda, V'Yehuda. See? Okay. Yeah, Hoosick River Bend knows. Yeah, I went to school up in Boston, so it kind of got used to some of the weirdness. All right, let's go. Good. Continuing. Tis ad dani. Okay, now I'm going to change the speed a little bit. And we're not going to go as deep into all the forms. Unless you guys see a form that you're confused about and you want to ask me about. So that we can get through our verses tonight. Okay. All right? I don't mind slowing down. There's still some time to go in detail on some of them. But we're not going to do detail on every single word, every single lesson. All right? Otherwise, some people will be bored while others love it. Right? I want it to be equally frustrating for everybody. All right. Continuing. Tis ad dani. So sa'ad is to sustain or to support. That tav at the beginning, that makes you think of atah, just like we had up here in the blue, right? Makes you think of atah, which is you. Okay. So tis ad dani, you support, you sustain, me. Make myself a bit bigger here. No, maybe it's fine. And yipelo. Okay, this one I might have to discuss a bit. This is a bit weird. Okay, this word anav, or anau, like it used to be, anav. So, the usual meaning of this is like humility, but I don't think that makes much sense here. All right, so we'll just try humility first, see if you guys like it. And anav, humility, pardon me, anva, right? So humility of cha, of you. So the humility of you, right? Coming from the root anav, which is to be bowed down, to be humbled, etc., etc. Okay. All right. So the psalmist just said, "Vatiten li magen yishacha," you give me a saving shield, veymiynekha, and with your right hand, or by means of your right hand, which is like the real position of power in the Bible. Tisadeni, you sustain me, you support me. And now it's going to say veanevatekha, and with your humility. What? Tarbeni, make me numerous, make me great, make me rav. Something isn't jiving here. So I turn to the great late Mitchell DaHood in his 3-volume commentary called The Grammar of the Psalter. And why is that showing up? I find, okay, good. Are you seeing that? Oh no, yeah, it shows up a little bit. Whatever, fine. And he's got an answer. He points out that this is probably the root anav from Phoenician, right? This is kind of an older psalm, which means something like conquering, to conquer. Anau, to conquer. And he gives an example from some Phoenician inscription, right? About this guy conquering such and such. Now that actually makes a lot more sense, right? Especially if we understand Yesha, remember it can mean salvation or victory. But we're talking military stuff, right? Just up above. What do we have in last verse? The verse last week. Melamed yadai lamilechamah. You train my hands for war. Veynichata, and you've lowered keshet nechusha, a bow of bronze, like he's giving an excellent weapon, zerotai, for my arms, right? Very powerful compound bow made of bronze, right? Vatiten li, oh, that you would give me magen yishecha, now the shield, your victorious shield, perhaps, instead of saving shield. Veymiynekha, and by means of your right hand, this can imply help of the Mashiach, or of the Malach Hashem. Tisadeni, you support me. Veanevatekha, and now instead of humility, and by means of your conquering, right, which is a nice parallel to Yeshecha, your victory. Tarbeni, you make me rav. You make me rav. You make me, like, my area of influence is great now. So I like that. I think that works. Okay, let's see. Verse 37. Any comments or questions? You guys okay? Oh no, I'm out of tea. I knew that cup was too small. I just was feeling so low energy, I didn't want to bother searching for the giant mug. Okay. Tarechiyv, tza'adi, tachtai. So rachav is to be wide. Rochev means the width, right, of something. We've seen this in the language in Exodus about the Aron HaKodesh, the Ark of the Covenant, or the Holy Ark. Tav, again, reminds you of Ata. So you, Rachiv, and then what's that Yod doing in there? You guys remember our special Yod? What he does? When you put a Yod, when you've got your root letters, 1, 2, 3, Rachav, to be wide, and you add a Yod to it before the third root letter, that indicates the Hifil binyan, which is a causative meaning of the verb. Right? So instead of memorizing a whole other word, if you just know this little bit of pattern and you see it and you know what rachav means, then you can, okay, it's to cause to be rachav, to make wide, right? So for example, if you know the word gadal or gadel, to be great, and then we put a yod in there, higdil, it's to cause to be great. In other words, to magnify, right? So same thing, it's pretty predictable. It happens all over the place. Usually it's a causative. Sometimes it's an elative meaning, but usually causative. So you can guess those. So that's another freebie. If you just know that rule and you know the root, you've already learned the kal meaning of the verb. Now you get another free vocabulary word, totally free, just by knowing that binyan, that verbal form. Okay. Tarechiyv, you make wide. Sa'adi. Does it die? Oh, it is D, okay. Tza'adi. So tza'ad is a stride. Tza'ad, 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 okay? So the tza'ad of E. E, what's that one? Mine, or in this case, me, right? So mine. You make wide my stride. Okay, he's taking big steps. He's progressing in his military march fast. He's not just inch by inch. It's not like a World War I. Everybody's stuck in ditches forever. Wide, like Israel moving into Gaza. 2 kilometers in, etc., etc. Quick, quick. Okay, like this. Tza'adi, my tza'ad. Tachtai. Tachet, we mentioned. You remember I talked about tuchas? You sit on your tuchas. Tachet means under. Underneath, I. Me. Underneath me. You make broad or wide my stride underneath me. Which is a good place for the stride to be. Where else is it going to be? My stride above me? He's like walking on his hands or something. Dr. Navarro says, Anav, could it mean ability to subjugate, make humble? Absolutely. That's a great connection, Doc. Great connection. Yeah, great connection. Which would actually tie back to the Phoenician idea of conquer, right? You could see where they have a common meaning to the root back in ancient Hebrew before Phoenician broke off and did its thing. Very nice observation. Okay. Velo ma'adu karsulai. Velo and lo, not. Ma'adu. Ma'ad is like to stumble. Ma'adu, that means they don't stumble. What? Who's the they? Karsulai. The ankles of I. Okay, so what happens is when it's e, it means mine, and it's a singular thing. You got one of them, right? So, for example, should I write it? Oh, okay, I'll write it. What the heck? Let's do it. It's worth demonstrating. Okay. Okay. So, for example, sus is a really nice model word to use when studying Hebrew because it has a long vowel, so that it cannot reduce then. So you don't have like all these vowels changing. That's why we use sus a lot of times. Now, sus means horse. Okay. Now, if I say susi, that means my horse. My horse. But if I say susai, see, the vowel has changed here. I. That means my horses. That's the plural, okay? So without changing colors, another example. Adon, or actually we can do it like this. We won't make it construct. Adon is Lord, okay? And now we'll put a suffix on the end. If I say Adoni, that means my Lord. What are you doing? Come back, go back. No. We're not in that. My Lord. But if I say Adonai, which most of you should know this word, Adonai, or oftentimes with the qamats because we get the accent there. Adonai, you'll see both qamats and with patach, means my lords. Okay? Susi, my horse. Susai, my horses. Adoni, my lord. Adonai, my lords. Even though we don't translate that way, that's really what it means under the hood. Okay? So going back. Okay. So karsulai, if he said karsuli, it would mean my ankle. Karsulai, my ankles. Plural. See, it's got the I there. And the patach has been lengthened because of the saluk. All right. Verse 38. 38. Going to make a mad dash to get done with our verses. Eredoph oivai. Veasiygem. Velo ashuv ad kallotam. Eredoph. Okay. The root here is radaf. Reish, Dalit, Fe, which is to pursue, to chase after. Sometimes it means persecute if it's followed by et. Okay. One time I was coming out of the Israeli embassy here years ago, and there's this white chick following me around trying to be sneaky and stuff. Right? So So I took a taxi. I went to another mall because I don't like being followed around. I just think it's weird. I know it's probably just to vet me, make sure everything's okay. But anyway, so I get in this bookstore and she's following me around the bookstore. And so I just kind of poked out the other side. Lama at rodefet, you know, why are you following me? Anyway, so it's a good word to know. Radaf, to pursue or persecute. The aleph, she might not have been Israeli. Could have been a weirdo. Who knows? Let's see. Aleph. This one reminds you of the aleph in ani or anochi. I'll only write the more common one here. Ani. Ani, which means I. See? So when you see the aleph up there, bloop, see the aleph? It reminds you of ani. So I, radaf. I will pursue, or that I might pursue, probably with some kind of force. Oyevai. So oyev is an enemy. Oyevai, my enemies. I don't know. She pretended to not understand, so I thought, okay. She might not have understood. It could have just been, maybe she liked me or something. Who knows? Who knows? It just was. But I get frustrated when people are kind of trying to be sneaky like that or something. So I wanted to say something. Okay. My enemies. Veassiygem. And aleph. So again, reminds you of ani. I. In this verb, it's kind of hard to see what's going on. See the dagesh in the scene? This is actually I probably shouldn't have mentioned that, but whatever. The problem with live teachings. This guy is because there's a noon hiding. The noon is what the dagesh in the scene represents. So if you're just listening to the podcast, assimilation, I'm claiming, was once assimilation. So nasag is to overtake, like to catch up with, to overtake, right? So the aleph is I. Asig means I will overtake, aim. And we have that suffix mem at the end. Now when you see the suffix mem at the end, mem, I'll make the whole guy yellow. I think that might be a little less sloppy than just circling. It's a mem, not a samech. When you see that mem, that should remind you of hem or hema. Hem or hema, which means they. So veasiygem, that I might overtake them. Velo ashuv. Velo and not. That reminds you again of the ani, that's the that I might also shuv, return, ad. You've had this word, ad, until, pardon me, the arrow covered it, ad, until, okay. And actually, okay. The here, this is actually hard to recognize Hifil, actually, so that I would cause to return until kallotam. So this is from the word kala. It ends in a hey, and the hey went away. Kala is to finish, and this one, it's got the dagesh in there. This is a Piel. So, like, this means to cause to finish, right? Which in military language means to end them. Okay, kallotam, until the ending of them, until they've ended. And again, we have that mem at the end, reminding you. And sorry, it's until you finished them. He's still counting on Hashem. Kallota, you finished. Kallota, them. Okay, this guy again. Yeah, finish him, exactly. Finish him! The Caesar. Although I think I saw in the Discovery thing it should be more like this, like towards the throat. Okay. are we doing? Oh, 54 minutes. Okay, verse Lamed Tet 39. We can at least get through 39. Emchatseim velo yuchlu kum yipelo tachat raglai. Okay, so here machatz. So we have a word in mechatz, not the verb, but there's a noun in mechatz which is a blow, like in the Batman, bam, bam, right, kablam. Okay, so machatz is to blow, like to land a blow, right, like from the punch. Okay, and the aleph again reminds us of the aleph in ani, I mechatz, that I might finish, pardon me, that I might land a blow on aim on them. On them. Okay, again, this guy, beep, 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 beep. Boom, 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 boom. Yay. Imagine it's blinking. Yay. Okay, aim. Velo, and not. Yuchelu. So, this is the word yachal. Yachal, which means to be able. To be able. Like to be able to do something. Right? Like, ani yachol medaber ivrit. I can speak Hebrew. Okay? To be able to. But militarily, to be able to means to defeat. Okay? So, lo yuchelu, that they might be unable to kum. So in this case it is just, sorry, I didn't look at the next word. It is just the ability to kum, to stand. And let me see. Oh yeah, okay. See, there's a neat play on words coming up on the next verse, but I don't think we have time to finish the next. Oh, maybe we will. Okay, I'll wait till we get there then. Kum, to stand. Yipelo. See the dagesh in the pay? There's a dagesh there. And that is telling us once again, hey, there's a noon hiding in me. There's a noon. If you want to find my true root, this is a mini noon. There's a mini noon inside. Help, get it out. Okay, that's what that is. So the verb is nafal. And a lot of you guys know nafal. And I'll just say the nephalim, even though it doesn't mean fall in that word, but because a lot of people think of them as the fallen ones, it's fine if that helps you as a mnemonic. Okay. In that case, it's actually probably an Aramaic word meaning giant. But anyway, if it was the fallen ones, it would be nophilim instead of nephalim. But fine. So thank you, Dr. Heiser, for pointing that out. Okay, yipelu, let them nafal, let them fall. So the yod is telling you third person, it's he, but the u at the end is plural. So it's they. So yipelu, let them fall. Tachat, underneath, raglai. So look up here, he used karsulai, my ankles. And now down here he's got raglai. He uses a different word, but still kind of similar region. A regel is a foot. So the feet of I. So that's my feet, right? If it was ragli, it'd be my foot, wouldn't it? My foot. But it's raglai, my feet. All right. All right. One more, because I want you to see the Hebrew parallelism, and we planned out to verse 40, and we'll be done with verse 40, okay? So if you look, here we are. Come here. Where's my arrow? There we go. There's verse Mem over there. That means 40. Mem like Mashiach. Like on the 40th day, when you count the Omer, that's when Yeshua HaMashiach ascended into heaven. It was on the 40th day of the Omer. I want us to have a holiday. I think that should be a holiday for those who believe in the Mashiach, right? We should have Yom Mashiach, right? Or you could just call it Like there's Lag BaOmer, the mystics celebrate on the 33rd, because it's Lamed Gimel, so it's pronounced Lag. Well, we could have Let's celebrate Okay, anyway. Vatiten chayil lamilechamah. Okay. And to again, making us think of this guy over here. Beep, beep, beep. The tav and ata, you. That ta, you, would azer. Actually, azerei, it's kind of hard to break it out there. Aleph, zayin resh means to wrap. To wrap up. This can be a synonym for lavash, to get dressed, right? To clothe somebody. So that you would azerei, clothe me, with chayil. And we just talked about chayil, I think, last night or the day before, yesterday or the day before. Chayil. So chayil has many meanings. In this case, it's the military meaning. Like an ish chayil is a soldier. He's a man of valor, right? So in this case, chayil, it means like with valor, that you would clothe me, guard me with chayil, with... Oh, right, it was in the First Kings. We were reading about Yerovam, that Shlomo HaMelech, he saw that he was a gever chayil, right? A man of action, right? A man of ability. In this case, it's actual military. So that you would clothe, that you would wrap me with chayil, with valor. La, so the lamed is for, the is the footprint from ha. Remember, the milchamah, for the warfare, for war. Milchamah, the root being lacham, to fight. Oh, and we had this, check it out. Watch the Weaponize Your Hebrew that I released today. Psalm 35 verse 1, it uses the verb lacham, right? It says lacham, lacham et lechomai, that you would fight my fights, fight my battles, right? So milchama is war. La is for the milchama, for the war. So v'ta'azareni chayil, that you would clothe me in valor, or wrap me in valor for war. La milchama. Takeriya kamai tachtai, that you... Oh, look, we have another Hifil, and we're going to finish with this verse. So I'll just do a little bit of drawing here real quick. Hold on. Okay, looky here. You see the yod, or do you hear the yod? Takeriya. The yod there, that's telling us it's Hifil. It's Hifil. It's the causative binyan. So kara, without the yod there, kara, it's an ayin, kara, is... to bend the knees or to bow, right? To bow, like you're stooped over, kind of, okay? The tav at the beginning, tav, well, that's reminding us again of you. The tav in ata, okay? You will cause to bend the knees. So you will make kneel. Kamai. Now here's where I was talking about. There's a nice Hebrew parallelism I want to share with you guys. So looky here. So we have the root kum, it's kamai, and up here we had kum, right? Velo yochelu kum, that they might not kum, they might not stand. It could even be more sinister. It could mean that they don't resurrect, because kum can also mean to resurrect, to rise, to stand, as we see in Psalm 1. It's got that idea. Lo yakumu reshaim, the wicked will not yakum, they will not kum, they won't stand, meaning they won't resurrect. So here you have this nice parallel. This is a device of the psalmist, a poetic device he's using here. So he's just said the bad ones aren't going to kum, and now he calls them kamai. This means those who stand against me, which actually just means my enemies or my adversaries. But in Hebrew, it's got a kind of another deeper meaning, because it's got the root kum, right? You've got sonai, you've got oyevai. He mentioned above already oyevai, right? My enemies. Here it is. If you're looking, oyevai, my oyevs, my enemies, okay, and now he's got kamai, those who stand against me, also means my enemies, tachtai, underneath me, okay, and then finally, that's it, okay, I want to keep going, but that's fine, that's enough. He's going to switch to oyevai again in the next verse. So, isn't that beautiful? Oh, that you would wrap me, that you would guard me in chayil, in valor. La milchamah, for the war. Takeriya, that you would cause to bend the knee. Kamai, the I, it's my comes, my enemies, those who stand against me. And again, making you think of kum from just the previous verse. Tachtai, underneath me. All right. So that's the end of our teaching for today. You guys have a great day or evening, whatever the case may be. Really hope you guys are absorbing the Hebrew and loving it. If you'd like to become a patron over at patreon.com/Hebrew Literacy, I really would appreciate it. It helps to fund the work that we're doing here. We still need stuff for the office. We still need stuff to make it smoother experience. And of course, family's got to live too. We got to eat and all that stuff. And you can also give at paypal.me/same title Hebrew Literacy, or if you're in the Philippines, you can just send Paymaya to Hebrew, to keyword Hebrew, and we'll get that. All right. Yeah, Jeff, I think oivei does come from oivai, my enemies. Yeah, I think so. Although it doesn't help that in Yiddish we also just have the expletive oi, right? Like whoa, oi. right? Or oi, hearing bad news or whatever. So yeah, but I do think it comes from oyev. Nice question. Shalom, shalom, you guys. Have a great rest of the day. Be blessed. And I will catch you next time.